Well, one of the most intriguing aspects of this is that both clubs were interested in both strikers. So who has got the better deal, and did they end up at the right clubs? To find out, I asked renowned football tactico Pythagoras in boots to look into it.
Statistically, there's only really one winner. Gyökeres is one of the most efficient and threatening strikers in world football, scoring at more than a goal a game, 52.5% shot accuracy, 30% conversion rate to Šeško's 20%. He's also receiving more progressive passes, and he just gets more touches in the penalty area. In terms of the eye test, it's Šeško that takes your breath away. He's the one that could attain that higher ceiling with shades of Marco van Basten, but also he doesn't really get into the box that much. He's scoring almost 1 in 2 games. He's not really breached past 15 goals in the Bundesliga. So for him to be projected as, say, a 30-goal a season in the Premier League, that's going to be a project. That's not something that's going to happen overnight. One thing to note, however, is that Arsenal aren't going to generate as many fast breaks as Sporting Lisbon. Sporting were much faster in terms of getting the ball from back to front, and that caught teams off guard. And you often saw Gyökeres running at defenders who were backpedaling and then using that momentum that he had to then go on and score goals. I think with Arsenal, he's going to face more settled defenses, and that's not something that he's necessarily as good at. Moving on to the aerial side of the game, I think there's been premature concerns about Gyökeres' heading ability. I think what he's adept at is finding little pockets inside the box, getting that run ahead of centre-backs. And I think where Šeško is superior is that he's better in aerial duels, long balls coming in. He's someone who can leap up so high with a leap that even Michael Jordan would be proud of. And he can cushion those headers back into the midfield and help his team retain possession, but also inside the box. He's more capable of direct confrontation with centre-backs. So he's not necessarily always looking to just peel off. If there's a ball hit to the back stick, for example, and he's got people tugging at him, he's someone that can jump up and, muscle those guys up and get that header to the far post. So I think his range of heading is going to be superior, and generally in open play, he's going to be more impactful, but that doesn't mean Gyökeres is no slouch. Finally, moving on to link-up play. Now, for me, Gyökeres reminds me a little bit of Ollie Watkins, someone that loves to roam into wide channels, generates a lot of shot-creating actions and assists for his teammates that run in support. That's when their creative game comes to the fore. Against settled defenses, they're not going to be threading through balls and being that false nine type of centre-forward. In contrast, Šeško is more of a typical centre-forward, and there's shades of Zlatan in terms of how he brings that ball down on his chest, those sort of skillful type of backheel layoffs that he does. But this is where the comparison falls short. Šeško, for me, sometimes the touch isn't quite there. And the main frustrating thing about Šeško is sometimes the decision-making. Like, he's brought the ball down, he's got runners around him, and instead of just playing that ball through to the right player, he'll chop back, he'll do a skill, he then pass it to the wrong player, and then he just kills the attack dead. So these type of decision-making errors need to improve. In conclusion, we have two very contrasting style of forwards, both at very different stages of their career. I think if Gyökeres is able to replicate the same form that he showed at Sporting at Arsenal, and tactically there's adjustments made from him as well as Arsenal, then he should, in theory, be more effective in the short term. However, in the long term, if Šeško hasn't superseded Gyökeres' legacy as an overall footballer, there's definitely question marks to be had, because I think, frankly, in terms of his ceiling, it's a lot higher. Anyway, hope that helped, Roman. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks very much, mate. Well, look, we've seen a player kind of comparison there about the two strikers. I guess for both of you guys, you've got, I guess, Arsenal trying to maybe play a more direct game now, through balls in to try and get that ball in behind for Gyökeres. Maybe with Šeško, he's got Mbeumo, he's got Cunha, who can fit those balls into the box, as you say, where you want it. As your type of striker, what side would you prefer to be in? Would you prefer to be in a Man United or an Arsenal?
I was just saying with Andy, I'm thinking, just as Andy was touching on before, he was talking about, you go into the dressing room, you go look around, who's going to get me goals? Yeah. So for me, when I'm looking at the dressing room, you got Saka in the Arsenal team. They probably had a few more, you got Martinelli, but Saka's probably the only one I could say can cross a ball in, a lovely ball in for a striker in the Arsenal squad. But then you look at Manchester United, and you've got Cunha that can swing it in. You've got Mbeumo who can swing it in. You've got a few players and wing-backs as well that can swing it in as well. So I think there's more opportunities to be playing in Manchester United. And I was saying that Šeško is probably our type of striker, where we hold up play, try and connect, strong in the air. So I think Manchester United would be the place for me to go. I don't know about you. You might still fancy the Arsenal role.
Yeah, what would you prefer? You're just looking
I can't speak for Andy.
I'm with Corley. Like, as soon as the ball gets in the box, that's exactly what I wanted, and that's what Man United are about, to get the balls in. And yeah, for me, I would be exactly the same as him.
Just looking. I love this chat. It's just looking for the best mate in the squad. That's all you're looking for the whole
We
time.
might not even have to win the league, but I've got 40 goals.
I think that's the connection that you need if you want to score goals. If you look around your team and see who's there and see who can deliver for you and put it where you want it,